All right. I'm going to check something here real quick. A lot of curses floating around because it's a very emotional time period. So people are projecting curses, will, all sorts of things. So again, the idea is we need to keep the public safe. And there's many methods we use to do that. But the state of Minnesota, the city of Minneapolis and Ice Watch, they're trying to make people put themselves in danger. And it's not really helping, because the more those people go out there, the more we encounter immigrants that do not comply, and they're getting killed. They're getting, they're having to defend themselves while the agents have to jump on them instead of just simply cuffing them real quick and taking them to the lockup. Right. And there are a lot of other things going on because we can't prosecute cases in those districts. Now, what the liberals will say, because it's the liberal district, that it's a jury of the peers, therefore it's valid. It's not, because the jury is not lawfully operating. The jury is not deciding based upon the law and the instructions, because they are in opposition to the law. So what they're deciding is that assault on federal officer just is justified. That's really where they are. They lie to get on the juries. So this is your problem, and that's what the judges have to help you rectify. They're not deciding the case based upon what the jury's supposed to do. They're essentially left-wing ultra radicals, and they're deciding that it's just to assault a federal officer. It's just to impede. So again, it's not a jury of peers, because a jury is required to decide a case based upon the law and the facts and the jury instructions. They're deciding that the law should not exist, which is not, it's kind of like not agreeing with elections and how that works. And that's why we can't keep people out of the street, and we can't keep them safe. And what's happening is it's feeding the immigrants, so the immigrants are acting out. Again, remember, in Minneapolis, they live in a city, in a state that has very minimal amounts of overdose and narcotics throughout the state, as far as the evidence compared to other states. But yet Minneapolis is the complete opposite. So again, it takes a lot of effort to be Minneapolis in the middle of Minnesota, considering what narcotics are found in the rest of the state. So that's the problem, is the jury isn't helping us protect the community because they're skewed in the mind. I'm glad she went and took care of homeless people, but it sounds like she's living the liberal dream. Because she had all these people with her. Oh, they were brought to tears, and they were filming, and it's just a liberal little. What's that guy's name? Darn it! Went to ATF. He was a deputy marshal. Had a master's in history. He was a court security guy for Superior Court. Or district court. I can't remember. No, district court. Right. All right. Okay, so what he told me this. He goes, he came out of the military. He was in the military, he's Navy, I think he was in the Navy. And he had his college money and all that. So he went to college. And he's not a liberal, he's conservative. And he's surrounded by liberals. So because he was a Navy guy, they made him. He explained it to me actually, but I kind of knew it already. They made him like the dorm captain or something like that. He was a higher authority within the dorm. But he had to go to a course, an empowerment course before he became that, a training course. So he says it was just a nightmare because everybody's like ultra left wing and they're a little bit younger than he is in the course. So I get to an obstacles course to be, team building. So they're going, he said, this is the epitome of the liberal. We're going through the team obstacle course. And you get to a point, where you have to go up on this wall. And he said, these people are totally out of shape. So he goes, he's saying, I'm not this ultra in shape guy, but, I'm not that. So we get to this wall. And this one woman who is really out of shape, they have to help her up over this wall. And he said he's on top of the wall already. And he's looking back at them, and said all the liberal people run up. Made little wimpy sounds. And he says they get her halfway up the wall. And they just can't go any further. Like, it's just like they have nothing in them. They get her halfway up the wall, and she's just holding her, because it's uncomfortable to be in that position and halfway up the wall. And he says it's the epitome of the liberal. They can't get them more than halfway up the wall. They never get them to the goal. He goes, so I leaned down, gave her my hand, and went, and pulled her up to the top. As the conservative. Again, he's not a mean person. He took an Afghani guy in. He's the guy that had the Mujahideen living with him. A one-legged Mujahideen, suppose. At least that's how the story went. Regardless, it was like an Afghan homeless guy. And he would let him stay at his apartment every so often. So when you look in the liberal world, I took a trip to New York. Oh, and it was so beautiful. She's look. Try being in Santa Fe, where the narcos that you're trying to help stay here decide whether a person has a house, gets to eat, gets to receive charity, and then try to do charity for somebody they say doesn't get any charity. Over a year, 2 years, 3 years. Agreed. Same thing, Espanola. When they put you out, if they notice you're feeding the people they put out and helping the people they put out, they'll come after you. Now, you can go to New York for a month or something and do that, and nobody's going to bother you. Right. Let the narco boss see you taking care of somebody that he ruled gets nothing or she ruled gets nothing for 6 months, 7 months. Then see what they do. So it just, again, you know how you have themed vacations? Liberals have themed vacations. Yeah. She went on a themed vacation with her buddies. And I didn't have anybody helping me. Why? Because The narco boss ruled nobody is allowed to help me. That means nobody's allowed to help me help the people that they grew up with that they no longer help because they're afraid of the narco boss and the sex trafficking boss. I don't know these people from nobody. So again, it just hit me as one of those. she took a liberal themed vacation to New York. Right. And then the other liberals, oh, it was so sad. But watch me do it. Hey. He's got a MAGA hat. No, I never wear a MAGA hat. I never would. It's just too weird for me. Right. So again, they're out there doing this idea that she's the angel from heaven, or they're going to ask the Pope to saint her. In fact, she's making it worse. Yeah, Joan of Arc here. Yeah, I don't know. Did they? Joan of Arc just said something in my head. He said, "Do you think the other saints were like that?" Or she said, "Just on a liberal vacation or something, and making it worse." Some of these people that santed may be the idiots. We consider them idiots because they're making it worse for those people, not making it better. Like he was saying, halfway up the wall and they're stuck. I've known Joan of Arc for years, and not constant conversation, as far as spiritual conversation. No, she's not who the conservative thinks she is. In fact, she's, they think she's weird. They would think she's weird. She's one of my trans friends. It's spiritual. I don't have physical trans friends. Thank you, Larry. That's what gets me. It's like that's the world that I can see. Conservatives, anti-trans, but they talk about Joan of Arc. She was at least partially trans. She was at least a dominant, like the handyman husband, Miss Goods, or wife, whatever it's called. So again, the idea is to try to make people safe, and it's just not to not tell the truth is not going to work here. Again, the agent is a Christian. I'm sure he's engaged in some sort of charitable stuff in his life. Right. It's about that moment. It's about being out there when she's not supposed to be. You're trying to bring everything of her life into it. And if she is a nice person, she's been deceived by the liberal radicals and by the ICE Watch. It doesn't make it better. You're actually causing other immigrants to. And the next day's shooting may have been from what they watched on the news, trying to resist. Right. Off of that shooting, instead of getting the right message, they were online all night watching people telling them to resist. Instead of saying, hey, don't resist because you don't want to get shot. Right. So again, my recommendation is what it's always been: get your people off the street. It's not about, honor or winning or losing. Actually, they win when they get off the street. They're safe. Kids don't have to go without their mother if they get injured. The agent did nothing wrong. Even if his perception was off a little bit, it's within the range of acceptable perception. But I'm not saying it was, because we don't know at what point she decided to turn the wheel. Staring straight down 44 may have caused her to turn the wheel. Right. I guess he wasn't a special operations group member. For some reason they said that, or maybe he is, and they have it in the other article. Well, he's a firearms instructor, which means he knows how to do it, generally. And you're going to get a firearms instructor that's trained, that's going to be more apt, and it's just the way that works. They're more sure of themselves. Again, I explained how with Muhammad in that vehicle with the other officer, if that was a bad guy, the other officer would have been wrong and he would have been right. So again, what you're doing is letting these liberals make up bullshit. They made up bullshit about Muhammad. It was again, you could fire him, but he wasn't criminally culpable. No way. There's too many things that went wrong, such as the dispatch not controlling the caller walking outside in the dark while they're sitting there looking for theoretically a violent rapist. And then she pounds on the vehicle and appears at the window. You know why that actually happened? I just heard, and I'm sure I would have thought of it independently too. Because he's Islamic and he was hated for being an Islamic police officer. And the liberals ate him up. Liberals put him there, and then the liberals ate him up. Right. Now, again, Republicans do the same thing at times, and I speak about that also. Conservatives do the same thing at times, and I speak about it. So again, what happened over the years, we lost this idea where you could have a bad shoot but not be criminally culpable. And what happens generally there is the entity gets sued and has to pay, and then the officer usually gets fired, but they don't go to prison. Because again, Tim Miller said this. I guess ICE. Right? Is that the Tim Miller of FLETC? FLETC fame? I don't know if it is or not, but he's on Fox News. And he says officers don't wake up in the morning thinking, hey, I'm going to use excessive force or anything like that. They don't want to use force. They want actually what those officers want, and I'm hoping they want, and hopefully there's no weirdos in there that's willing up a confrontation. But that they want no confrontation. They wanted to go quiet and go home and then see his Filipino wife, sit down to, some Filipino food or something she's cooked, and just like everyone else. Sunday go to church with the kids or whatever. Right. That's all. That's really what most people's lives are. But you're all not supposed to be out there. That's the bottom line. There's no legality to protest an act of law enforcement activity. It's just like standing in front of somebody answering a 911 call. There's no difference. I'm telling you that right now. Because, again, the evidence ICE and Border Patrol has provided, DHS has provided, says that a certain number of these people, if we don't arrest them, there will be a 911 call in the future and quite possibly a dead body. whether they have current charges, past charges, or not. There was that first charge for every immigrant that has a charge. The key is to get that person off the street before there is a charge. Now, there are probably a certain percentage of cases that I wouldn't go after. I wouldn't be going after unless, there's information I don't have. The Vietnamese mother in like Western Maryland or something, I don't think I'd go after her unless there's something I don't know. And cases like that, I wouldn't be going, but that's not the majority of cases. Right. So again, we're hearing how Saint Mrs. Good, but you're not hearing how Saint Officer is. Right. Served his country, worked down on the border on intelligence work, churchman. Christians make mistakes. Again, everybody's a sinner, but a Christian would not be out there. There's too many conflicts in the scripture. You're putting the Lord to the test. Those are law enforcement officers, and those are the real laws. It's not corruption. They're not doing things corruptly. It's one thing. I personally believe the scripture allows you to go against corruption. It speaks a lot about corruption. And I think, if you don't have anything exact, right, it allows you to defy corruption. Right? Because again, the conservative Christians will go, well, you have to follow everybody in office, including Bill. And, they don't follow Bill. Actually, somebody killed, or got him to commit suicide, probably. What's it? Vince Foster's. That was it. That was that Jonathan Luna type hit of the 90s, just in case you didn't know. If John committed suicide, that's what they say it is, to a certain degree. See, that's how I knew. Because they attacked me and attacked Jonathan Luna, and I knew what they did to Jonathan Luna, I knew what they did to Vince Foster. I didn't know then, but I knew pretty much by 2002. Right. No, what they do to me is what they did to Vince Foster, what they did to Jonathan Luna, what they did to Jonathan Nichols. Not testing anyone. They're lying. Thanks, Larry. So the idea is get those people out of the street and send them somewhere else to protest. Because what they're doing is not protest, is not civil disobedience. It's the same old Antifa bullshit. That's Antifa by another name. Again, it's the same thing actual Middle East jihadists do. They change the name of their organization. It's the same old people. ICE Watch is Antifa. Well, does ICE Watch actually exist? Is there a central command structure? Same old bullshit, right? Right. Well, stay peaceful.